here are everybody's common mistakes. Talked about a little bit earlier. You're too available. Here's another thing is, if you're doing something nice for your client because you want to give good customer service, do your best to insinuate to them that, so they realize this is outside of my scope of work, right? Because I will tell you, no good deed goes unappreciated, right? For example, I had a listing appointment. We get to the house, the people moved out of state, and they left a bunch of junk in the backyard. So I just called them and I said, listen, it's not really my job, but I'm willing to help. Would you be okay if I got my trash guy and they billed you to get the trash out? Because I can't show the house with the trash on the side of the yard. And so they were like, yes, no problem, thanks for taking care of that. I apologize, I meant to say something to you, blah, blah, blah. Right, so just make sure that you let people know, listen, I'm going above and beyond for you here. And you gotta say it in a tactful way, don't be ridiculous, don't be rude. But the problem you have to understand is, if you do it once, then all of a sudden that becomes your responsibility. We had for example, Lisa was talking about a project we have in Chandler. We have a Flip Our Home project in Chandler. And Lisa's in the meeting and says, you know what? Mario missed like 6 or 7 nail holes that he didn't cover up before he painted. So I'm gonna go and I'm gonna spackle and touch them up. I'm like, no, it's not your job. I said, if you're gonna do that, then I want you to do it for every listing. Because you're making new rules for what your job entails, then I want you in every house, spackling every hole from here on out. Obviously, she's not spackling the holes, right? Stay in your lane, we talk about it all the time, stay in your lane. If you have to go out to help your client and help yourself, that's okay, it's great. But just make sure you kind of let them know that, hey, this isn't really something I usually do, but I'm willing to do for you because I really like you, you're a great client. You just don't want to set the bar that you're going to be doing everything. Next thing you know, they're going to have you over there cutting the grass on Saturday afternoon, right? You want to make sure that you kind of set those perimeters. I'm not saying don't do it, just make sure they know, hey, this isn't going to happen every weekend. Right? I'm not coming out cutting your grass every weekend. I can do it this weekend for whatever reason, because I have an open house or whatever. Okay. Biggest mistake I ever made is put a TV in my office at home. My productivity went. So make sure you have private workspace to work from. Even if it's only 2 hours a day while you're doing your prospecting, that's fine. But you need some time where you can get away. You know, the radio isn't so bad. I listen to the radio a lot, listen to my iPod, but TV is the worst. TV will kill your productivity.
Why don't you turn it off when you're working? It's
That'd
not
be
gonna do your office.
What do you have a TV?
That'd be TV. Exactly. Thank you.
I could have a TV in there.
You know it is.
Sometimes,
It is
not when
NHL
I'm
hockey
working.
playoffs, right? So like from 4 to midnight for the past 5 weeks, there's been nothing on TV but that. So we're coming down to the end. Another couple weeks, hockey's over, and then maybe I'll get into a better routine. But yeah, I know. It would seem obvious. Let's see. Okay. People overbook really easy. They forget about this really important part of our job. I'll be done with my appointment in Chandler at noon. So that means I can get to West Surprise by 1. Probably not. And even if the GPS says it's going to take you an hour, give yourself an extra half hour, whatever you can. Because the last thing you want to do is be late for any appointment, right? You're running late and there's nothing you can do, you're stuck in traffic. So just kind of plan some buffer time. Don't overbook yourself so tightly. Here's another thing is, there might be time clients need an extra 30 minutes of your time. Right? Yes, you're done showing your last house and then they have a plethora of questions. You don't want to be like, oh, sorry, I have another client on the other side of town, so I gotta go, we'll talk about this later. No, why they have you there is a great time for you to answer those questions. So book yourself extra time, especially if you're traveling. Anybody see the movie The Circle? No? It's really good. There's a part at the beginning. There are 2 millennials, right? She's trying to get a job at the social media place. he's helping her fix her car. And it's a boy and a girl, and the boy goes to the girl, he's like, hey, we should get together sometime. And she goes, okay, yeah, I'll text you. He goes, we're standing right here. You know what I mean? It's like, set it now, don't text me later. Same with customers. When they have a question, they have a problem, they need some of your time, you have them. Take the extra 15 minutes, make sure they have all the answers they need. Don't be like, oh, email those to me later. There's still a human element to this job.
What if they're screwing around and just walking around it?
You can rush them up. It's okay to say, you know what, there's another appointment at 1:30, so we need to be out of here by 1:25 so the other agent can come in.
So you tell them that in advance?
Sure. If,
I didn't expect them to wander around forever.
yeah, if you have lollygaggers, you'll know, right? And you can, I always am like, well, we have to get the next one at 1 o'clock, so we gotta go. Then I tell them, I said, listen, what I want you to do is if we see 4 today, just take it all in. If you want to come back and look at them again before you make an offer, that's fine. But if I'm really tight on time, now if I have all day, then I don't worry about that. But if I'm tight on time, then yeah, because a lot of times people in the house, they know whether or not they like the house the first 10, 15 minutes.
Well, it's not that, it's that when they're in their house that they bought or what they're
Right.
purchasing, they want to go through and they want to look at it and look at it and look at it. I mean, it's already got a contract on it.
Oh, yeah, you gotta
And
tell
I'm
them.
like, okay, we've been here 3 hours. I got
Oh my gosh.
No, okay,
Right.
2 hours.
On a house already
I
under
do have
contract.
another appointment.
So yeah, so that, you can always do that. Second thing is, tell them up front. You know, we're gonna be there, I have between noon and 1 for you. So if we get there at noon, maybe you don't even do that. Like, hey, I have from 12 to 12:30. And that way if you run over a little bit, there's no damage there. And that way you don't have to be so urgent. Because sometimes you're like, okay, we really gotta wrap this up. And you're 10 more minutes, and you're like, really gotta wrap this up. So, yeah, just try to, when you look at your day, kind of figure all that time out. And that way you can tell people ahead of time, and then that way we're like, hey, like I said, we gotta go, gotta go. Something like that, I would use the inspection period. I'd be like, hey, when they open the house up for the inspection, why don't you come back? You could be here while the inspector's
No,
here.
this was after the inspector, when the inspector left. They
And
just
they-
wanted to walk around and enjoy it, see it, look at it, everything.
I always tell my clients, take pictures, take video, whatever you need to do, and bring a tape measure.